What is up, Ivy Leaguers? Listen, I got a banger of an episode for you today. Make sure you stay tuned to the end because this one is important and this one's going to help you win your fantasy football league, okay? Today, I have got your strategy, your first 5 round strategy for each pick, okay? So I broke this video up into 3 sections, all right? First section is going to be your 5 round strategy for picks 1, 2, and 3, okay? Then the next section is picks 4 through 7 and the last one is picks 8 through 10, okay? So, let's see. And this is for a 10-man league, okay? So, I know it might be a little different if you're playing with 8-man or 12-man or however many people you have, but this is if you have a 10-person fantasy football league, this is the best strategy to help you win your league, okay? So, let's get it, all right? We're going to start off with pick 1, 2, and 3, okay? So, personally, I am someone I like to go running back first. And for round 1, there is one guy that you need to draft, okay? If you're pick number 1, you should draft this guy instantly, no doubt. Pick number 2 or 3, you should hope this guy falls to you. And that guy is Jahmyr Gibbs, okay? Jahmyr Gibbs is just an athlete. He's a dog. He can really play anywhere on the field. And Detroit just signed him to a new contract, and he will be running everywhere. He is the guy. And actually, he's going to be even more of the guy this year because last year, honestly, the previous 2 seasons, he's been splitting reps with David Montgomery. This is his first year where he is the guy. He is the only running back. So without David Montgomery in there, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be getting so many more reps, meaning he's going to be getting the ball a lot more. Jahmyr Gibbs, in my opinion, is the best player for your fantasy football team. He's able to get you points both receiving, receiving touchdown, anyway. He's able to get you plenty of points. But if he's not available, your next best option is Bijan Robinson. And the reason I have Jahmyr over Bijan is due to Detroit's just a better football team. But Bijan Robinson is also a great football player and a great fantasy football player. So, again, he's going to be able to rack up those yards, those points, get you more points so that you can dominate your league. But if you're pick 1, 2, or 3, you should be looking for Jahmyr Gibbs first, and then if not, Bijan Robinson. All right, that's your round 1. Now you go to rounds 2 and 3. Okay, for round 2, I think you want to go with Derrick Henry, or even just put it this way: you want to go for rounds 2 and 3. You want to go with either Derrick Henry or Nico Collins, and it's a good spot to kind of get your top 2 running backs fit. Okay, so let's say you draft Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round. Boom, you get Derrick Henry in the second round. That's an all-star running back room right there. That fits out your running back room perfectly. And then you go get a guy like Nico Collins, who is a solid wide receiver 1. Now, if those guys aren't available, let's say Derrick Henry and Nico Collins aren't there, I would go get Josh Allen and A.J. Brown. And some people are going to say, why draft Josh Allen as early as round 2 or 3? Because Josh Allen's just that good. And he's also good at getting fantasy football points. Again, he may not be the best quarterback in the league, but he is probably the best at getting fantasy football points, okay? Because he has that ability to dominate a football game with both his arm and his legs. Because, let's be frank, that's what he does. This is what Josh Allen is good at. This is how he's dominated the league so far. So, in rounds 2 and 3, if you can't get Derrick Henry and Nico Collins, go get Josh Allen and A.J. Brown. And also, A.J. Brown on a new team, he's pretty much wide receiver 1 on his new team. So he's going to be getting a lot of targets, a lot of chances to catch a lot of passes from Drake May. All right, now let's go to rounds 4 and 5, okay? And this is where you can get this is where it's, people are gone, you may not get your top choice here. But if I have the first, second, or third pick, and we get to round 4 and 5, there are 2 guys that I really, really want to pick up, and that is DeAndre Swift, the running back for the Chicago Bears, and Colston Loveland. All right, both those guys are able to make superstar impacts immediately. Okay, if you look at Colston Loveland, he's a big tight end. He can catch the ball anywhere on the field, and he can really make moves. Okay, he's able to gain yards after contact, and that's what you want with a tight end, and that's going to help your fantasy. Obviously, more yards equals more points. And DeAndre Swift, well, he's the top running back option for the Chicago Bears, and they have a solid offensive line, a solid run game. They give him the ball a lot, but they also give him the ball in space in the passing game. so he's able to rack up a ton of yards there. But if these guys aren't available, here are some names I'm going to throw at you that I would go with. Okay, and again, this is in rounds 4 and 5. I would probably go with a guy like Devontae Smith. Again, Devontae Smith is now your top pass catcher for the Eagles now that A.J. Brown's out of there. I might go with a guy like David Montgomery. Okay, he's someone, great running back, can really power through and get extra yards. A guy like Quinshon Judkins, all right, and this some would say Quinshon Judkins this early would be a reach. I don't think so. I mean, he's the top back for the Cleveland Browns, and also the Cleveland Browns have a bit of a quarterback issue right now. It's a battle. We don't know who's going to start for them. So they might lean heavy on the run game, meaning Quinshon Judkins gets a lot of touches. Another guy I would maybe consider picking up in this round is Lamar Jackson. Look, if you're looking for that superstar QB1, you might as well get Lamar Jackson because he is the definition of a fantasy football quarterback. Okay? The guy can do it all. We saw him in college, we saw him at the pro level. If he's healthy, he's great. And I think he's going to be healthy this year, so I think he would be a solid person to go pick up. That's just personally. All right. So those are your first 5 rounds if you have the pick 1, 2, and 3. And I don't want to go all the way through all the rounds because this would probably be like a 3-hour video. If I did that, I would love to, but it's not worth it. So I'm just doing the first 5 rounds for your sake and for my sake because I only have so much paper right here. All right, I had to write it all down. I can't just do it off the dome for this. Okay? All right, our next little section is going to be strategy for picks 4 through 7. Okay? So let's get it. You ready? Are you ready? I hope you are. All right. So in round 1, if you have picks 4 through 7, there is one guy that I would really single out here, and that guy is Puka Nacua. Okay, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. He has really shown himself these past couple of years. Last year he exploded onto the scene and was just all around a great player, making people miss. No one could really stop him. Okay, and he's really turned into a force to be reckoned with on the field. That is your top guy in round 1 if you have picks 4 through 7. The next best player I would go for is a Christian McCaffrey type of guy. Okay? Because, again, Christian McCaffrey is the type of running back who he can do it all. Very similar to Jahmyr Gibbs. Obviously, I don't think he's at the same level as Jahmyr right now. We'll see, though. Because, again, Christian McCaffrey, if he could stay healthy, he's one of the best, if not the best running back in the league. But he's had trouble staying healthy recently. A couple other guys I would go for is Ja'Marr Chase, maybe. Ja'Marr Chase, I think, is poised to have a big-time year. Maybe a James Cook running back, if you want to get that solid running back locked in. James Cook is not a bad option. Another guy who I would really look for as a round 1 talent is Jackson Smith-Njigba. Okay, JSN is right now maybe the hottest wide receiver in the game. People all around the league are just fanning and loving this guy. Okay, so I think why not go for a JSN type of guy? Get him locked in as your wide receiver 1. That's round 1. All right, now let's go to round 2. Okay, again, this is picks 4 through 7. Okay, so round 2, you're looking for a running back, in my opinion. So I think your top target here should be Derrick Henry. And you'd have to hope that he falls, but I think that Derrick Henry is the perfect round 2 running back because if you draft a Christian McCaffrey round 1, then you have Derrick Henry who, look, Derrick Henry's the type of guy, every time he runs the ball, he's getting 3 yards. You rarely see him stopped in the backfield, so he's never losing you fantasy football points. He's always getting you at least something. He's Mr. Reliable. All right, if he's not available, go for a Amon-Ra St. Brown, okay, wide receiver. He's a very reliable wide receiver, and he's the kind of guy that's going to get you, he might not get you 28 points, but he's probably going to get you anywhere between 12 to 18 points every week. Okay, I love having Amon-Ra on my fantasy squad because I know he's going to get me at least 12 points. And, 12 points can be the difference in a fantasy football matchup. So I love taking Amon-Ra here if Derrick Henry's not available. A couple other options maybe. Justin Jefferson, not a bad option ever. Or a Josh Jacobs type of guy. So either one of those would be a solid backup option. But the main guy is Derrick Henry. That's who you're looking for in round 2. Now let's go to round 3. All right. This is, hypothetically, let's say you haven't drafted both your running backs yet. go for Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams is such a good fantasy football running back. All right, and the reason I say fantasy football running back is some people would argue that he's not as good of a running back. I disagree. I think he's a great running back, but he's also just the perfect fantasy football running back. Very similar to that Jahmyr Gibbs type of guy because he is a threat anywhere on the field. He's a threat if you line him out wide, he's a threat if you put him in the backfield, he's a threat anywhere. Wildcat formation, whatever you want him to do. If Kyron Williams isn't available, go ahead and jump on Josh Allen because if you're playing with smart players, people are hoping to draft quarterback in round 4. Jump on Josh Allen right here. Make people start to take quarterbacks. Again, I think Josh Allen is the perfect fantasy football quarterback, so why not just go ahead and jump and take Josh Allen here in round 3? That would make sense for me. A couple other options I'm going to give you. Javonte Williams, not a bad running back option at all. Nico Collins, if he gets this far down, I don't think Nico will fall all the way to round 3, but some people do. Take an A.J. Brown if he's still there, or Travis Etienne even. Travis Etienne would not be a bad player to take here in round 3. But if everyone was available in round 3, take Kyron Williams. That's my personal top pick for round 3. All right, round 4, this is a guy we talked about it in the last section. DeAndre Swift. Go get DeAndre Swift. If you haven't drafted running back yet, DeAndre Swift is the way to go here. Or, again, same guy this is the same round 4 pairing we talked about in the last one. Colson Loveland. Colson Loveland is a wonderful pick here. So, those are 2 guys that you might as well go get if they're available in round 4. Now, round 5 is where it kind of gets, again, this is people may or may not be available here. A target that people are kind of sleeping on in round 5 is Zay Flowers, okay? He's pretty much the top target for the Baltimore Ravens. Go pick up Zay Flowers. He's going to get you some yards, all right? That dude is a speedster out wide. Really hard to stop. I really don't understand how people keep with him. You watch him on tape. He's super fast, great hands, a solid option for round 5. Some other options I'm going to give you. Go get Terry McLaurin. All right, Terry McLaurin's great. Jameson Williams, another speedster, or Quinshon Judkins if he's there. Those are some solid options for round 5. Again, that was picks 4 through 7. Now on to our final section of the video. We are flying through this. Let's do it. These are your strategies for pick 8 through 10. So 8, 9, or 10. And it's kind of a different strategy because the first 2 sections, you can see similar strategies. But when you get to picks 8, 9, and 10, it's a little different because you get back-to-back. Obviously, if you're pick 10, you get back-to-back picks. So you can kind of play your hand a little better. And obviously, you might not have the best players left, but that back-to-back picks really makes a difference. So you can play your hand a lot better. And in rounds 1 and 2, the first 2 players I would take, Saquon Barkley and Jackson Smith-Njigba. All right? One, look at you know Saquon's one, he was probably the best running back in the league 2 years ago. Last year he was a great running back. But obviously last year JSN was probably the best receiver in the NFL. I mean, he really is such a good route runner. He makes people miss an open field, great hands, touchdowns all around. So if I get that pick 10 and I have back-to-back picks, give me Saquon Barkley and JSN right off the bat. I'm not even thinking about that. If neither of those guys are available, go Ashton Jeanty and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Because Ashton Jeanty has a great boom factor. Like if he goes off, he could go off any week. Now he might not go off every week, but he could go off. He has that potential to skyrocket. And Amon-Ra, we talked about it earlier in the video. Amon-Ra is Mr. Reliable, okay? He's going to get you 12 to 18 points every week, and that's what you want as a possible round 2 wide receiver. Again, because this is kind of rounds 1 and 2, I pair them together for the later picks because you would have closer picks together. Some other options to maybe jump on in round 1 and 2 would be a Derrick Henry. All right, let's say all your guys are off the board. Go get a Derrick Henry, okay? Take him off the board. Another Mr. Reliable guy. Someone that I'm not super high on, but you might want to go ahead and take is CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee Lamb has potential to be really good, but he also has potential to be really bad. He you don't know what you're going to get from him each week, and that can be scary in fantasy football. But I like picking him here in round two. I wouldn't pick him round one, but I'm okay with taking him round two. Justin Jefferson's a guy I could go either round one or two. Amarian Hampton's an interesting, kind of underrated player. I would go pick him because he's one of the top receivers when you look at yards per catch. I think he has a good upside, so maybe take him round two. All right, now let's move on to rounds 3 and 4. Okay, rounds 3 and 4, my top two guys that I would look at immediately: Javonte Williams and Josh Allen. Okay, because when you have these later picks, you have the ability to dictate what that next round's going to look like for everyone else. So if you go ahead and steal Josh Allen, all of a sudden people are going to get antsy and be like, oh my gosh, the best quarterback's off the board. Okay, I got to go get someone else. I got to go get my quarterback. So you have the ability to say when everyone's going to start drafting quarterbacks, and that's a lot of power. And obviously, Javonte Williams, we talked about him. He's another one of those reliable backs. Next best, maybe go ahead and get a guy like DeAndre Swift. We've talked about him a lot in this video. Get a guy like Rashee Rice in there. Cam Skattebo is even someone I would take because he is kind of a red zone merchant, if I'm being honest. And the New York Giants are gonna hand him the ball in the red zone, and he usually gets in the end zone. So that's free points there. Now going into round 5, and we'll say round 5 and 6 for these later picks. Go get David Montgomery. David Montgomery is another. I'm all about picking the reliable backs, okay? There are explosive backs that you can draft. That's like an Ashton Jeanty type of guy. But a reliable back is Javonte Williams or David Montgomery or DeAndre Swift even. So picking guys like that are helpful. In rounds 5 and 6, go ahead and take David Montgomery and Christian Watson. Those are my top two guys for round 6. Some other guys you might want to throw in there: Ramondre Stevenson, he could have a good year. Devontae Smith, I'll tell you why Devontae Smith here in a minute. Jaylen Warren's even a guy I would go. So that kind of wraps up our sections, but now I'm going to tell you 5 must-draft fantasy sleepers, okay? These are guys that if they're available rounds 5, 6, 7, go pick them up because they could be huge X factors for your team. Okay, the first one, all right? And you ready? I hope you're ready for this one. You might not be. Isaiah Likely, tight end for the New York Giants. People are going to be like, what? That is not, I picked him last year and he didn't do squat. Pick Isaiah Likely. Okay, he's a great tight end one option. Okay, look, moving from Baltimore to New York, he all of a sudden becomes that top tight end option in New York. Jackson Dart is a player who he loves to have his check down targets, and Isaiah Likely this year will probably be his top check down target. So if I'm a guy, I'm going and picking Isaiah Likely. That's a big time sleeper one. Next guy that I want to go with is Luther Burden III, Chicago Bears wide receiver. Luther Burden is a dangerous wide receiver. He was great in college. I think he is the type of guy that you do not want to mess with. He is such a good, truly, I do not have enough praise for Luther Burden III. He is a superstar receiver in the making. Okay, give him, in I think 4 or 5 years' time, we're going to look back and be like, man, this guy was a stud. Okay? Here's a real sleeper, and I hope I'm saying his name right, Bashal Tutin, all right? Bashal Tutin is probably running back 1 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, okay? Travis Etienne left the Jaguars, and that left Bashal Tutin as RB1 for the most part. Obviously, we'll see how fall camp ends out, but Bashal Tutin is a solid player. I would maybe look for him in round 7, okay? People aren't going to notice him because of his name. He's not a big name running back, but I think after this season, he has potential to be a big name running back. Another sleeper is a familiar name, Kyler Murray. Okay, now he's quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. People are overlooking him because, obviously he had a rough exit with the Arizona Cardinals. And people are kind of down on the Vikings this year. People don't think the Vikings are going to be great. Kyler Murray has wonderful athletic ability, okay? And he's playing on a better Vikings team. Just watch out for Kyler Murray, okay? And watch out for the Minnesota Vikings in general. I really think this could be a good team and a good pick. If you, maybe he might not be your QB1, but as a QB2 option, having Kyler Murray on your team would be clutch, in my opinion. And the last guy I want to talk about, and this is a guy that if you see him available, I'm 1000% picking him on my fantasy football team. I think he's having a breakout year. I think that he's going to go on to do great things. He's had a good career already, but I think this is where he takes his career to the next level, and that guy is DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith is going to have a breakout year, okay? No more A.J. Brown in Philadelphia, okay? DeVonta Smith is officially the number one target for Philadelphia, okay? Jalen Hurts has had to deal with A.J. Brown requesting trades because he's not getting the ball thrown enough. He doesn't have to deal with that anymore, and now he can focus on DeVonta Smith. Because DeVonta Smith has the ability to be the most explosive player in the NFL. I'm saying that right now. DeVonta Smith could be the most explosive player in the NFL, and this year he has the opportunity to be. Okay, we saw him he won the Heisman in college. He was by far the best receiver in college football that year. Okay, he could be so explosive if Philadelphia lets him. I really want to see Philadelphia's play calling just push DeVonta Smith. Get Smitty the ball. Okay, he's the Slim Reaper. They call him the Slim Reaper for a reason. Give DeVonta Smith the ball. Draft him on your fantasy football team. That is the guy. Okay, that is all I got for you this video. I think it's been a good video so far. One thing I want to say, Yahoo Sports just released college fantasy football. Maybe I'll give you a little college fantasy football guide in case you want to hop over to Yahoo Sports and play some college fantasy football. Other than that, until next time, Ivy Leaguers, I'll see ya. Have a good one.